I feel like I'm one of the luckiest people in the world because I found my calling. And one of the things that I hear from you more than anything else is that, Chase, how do I do this? What's wrong with me? How come I don't know what my calling is? If you want to know what your calling is, I'm going to give you a formula to figure that out right now.
You can have it. World famous photographer Chase Jarvis.
It's pure chaos, exactly the way I like it. One of the biggest myths that I hear you say about me and other people like me is that, oh, that's so great that you found your calling in life. You knew exactly what you wanted to do. You wanted to be a photographer and then turn that into an entrepreneurial career. And I want you to know that that's just not true. I'm sure you feel a lot of pressure when you're looking at online videos to find your calling in life. I want you to know that it was hard for me. But this video right now is going to help you figure that out. In order to do that, I've got a guest. That guest is A, one of my favorite people in the whole world, and B, someone who spent the last 2 years of their life working on the definitive book to help you figure it out. Now, you know from previous episodes that I'm very good at snapping my fingers and bringing these world-class thinkers into my video, so I'm going to do that right now, introducing to you Mr. Chris Guillebeau. See, I'm so good at that. Actually, you're in the dark a little bit. Can we come with us over the?
Is hard, man.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
All right, so we're on the couch. Welcome to Chase Jarvis Raw. So this is the thing that I've heard for years and years on the internet, and I think so many people think that, oh, you're so lucky, you know what your calling is photography, and you just did A, B, C, D, and then you're here, and now you're an expert in telling everybody else how to do it.
Right.
I'm lost, I'm frustrated, I feel a ton of pressure, but you have done a bunch of research and you wrote a book, this book right here, that tells us it's different. What do the people need to know at home?
People need to know that most successful people, most people who are purposeful, who do feel lucky, like I feel very lucky, I feel like I've got the greatest job in the world as well, most of us did not follow a linear path. Most of us actually went down lots of different paths. We didn't know, like when we were a kid, like here's this thing I'm going to be, like I'm going to be this photographer, I'm going to be a writer, and then we studied this field, you know, in college, and then we had this first job and this second job, and you know, it never works like that.
It never does.
Never, you know.
And I think everyone at home thinks that it does. You know?
No, and so the way that we kind of come to this thing that we were born to do, like you said, the word calling, we come to it through experience, through mistakes, you know, also by going down lots of different paths. So it's not like, you know, A to Z, it's actually, you know, A to B to C, and then actually maybe I'm going to go back to B. You know, we're not afraid to kind of turn around, not afraid to give up on something. And so most successful people, like they have some things in common, which we can talk about, but you know, probably the biggest thing is that they did not know from a young age, here's what I'm going to do, and then followed it, you know, throughout.
I think that's a bunch of relief. One of the things so I went to your book talk last night, which was like eye-opening. Even for someone who's found their calling, you have articulated in a way that I haven't seen anyone else do. And you gave last night in your talk, I'd like you to give it here, 3 things that will sort of help people understand what their calling is. Because I don't have a formula. People ask me that every day in person, on the internet. And so let's provide some guidance for those at home.
Cool. So we're following this nonlinear path. We're like, okay, we're going to figure it out as we go. You know, we're going to gain experience. We're going to make mistakes. But we are looking for the intersection of 3 qualities. So 3. First quality is joy. You know, it's kind of like happiness, but maybe a little bit deeper, something that you love to do.
Great.
Second quality is money. So I'm talking about careers here. You know, it's not a hobby, it's something you actually want to make a living at. And then the third thing is flow. So flow is about skill. It's about like something you do really well. So you want to have like joy, money, and flow, all 3. Not just 1, not just 2, but all 3.
Let's go into detail with each of those. So I love the word joy, first of all, because that's when you feel like you're in the presence of someone who's doing what they were meant to do, it just feels effortless. You can see that there's just like, they're happy. Even in the hardest part of it, there's a sort of a bliss or a willingness to do whatever. So talk to me about how you see joy in the career world.
Yeah, well, first of all, life is short. I think that's probably the most important thing. Life is short, and we're going to spend 1/3 of our lives at work, right?
Yep.
So we could take the approach, which a lot of people do, of like, I'm going to trade off basically my money or my life, and you know, my job is a means to an end. And so I'm going to do this job. Maybe it's a soul-sucking, miserable job, right? For a lot of people, you know, watching, maybe some people have that. Or maybe it's just an okay job. Like it's mediocre, but it's fine. Like I don't really care. So, you know, because we live in this age where so much is possible, like sometimes we have to settle, we have to compromise, but that's not really the goal, right? The goal is actually I want to take joy in my work. And some people do, as you said, like we can look at from the outside and say, actually that person, like they're pretty successful, like they're doing okay, like they're making a good living, but they actually like what they do, right? So that's the first quality, is like, well, how can we have more joy in our life?
Great. So joy for it doesn't act, one of the things you're not prescribing is that you can't have joy. It's only possible outside of a corporate gig. Like you can have some joy there, right?
Absolutely, sure.
Sure, that can be your
You know,
goal.
joy is very individual. That's the other thing, is like people are watching should think like, okay, what does joy mean to me? Right? Like, where do I take happiness? Like, do I enjoy like making things? Do I enjoy creating? Like, you and I are both very motivated that way. Some people are really motivated to be part of a team, like a mission. Like, we're all in this together. Like, what are we building collectively?
Great. So joy, like there's 3 overlapping circles, right?
Yep.
Okay, so joy is the one. Bing. The next one.
Next one's money, right? Because it's okay to do something for love. It's okay to have a hobby, you know, something that you're just doing for yourself. But we're talking about your career here. We're talking about something that you are going to invest in. So it should be financially viable. It should be sustainable. You know, so here's the thing, like you can do lots of things that you love that don't make money, but there's probably some things you do that you love that can make money, right? So we're looking for convergence. You know, where do these things kind of come together, right? So like, you know, photography, you can do lots of photography, you know, just for fun, for joy, for love, that's great. But there's also ways to like craft a creative career around it. And that's what you've done. Lots of people watching maybe as well. So I'm interested in like, how can we put these 2 things together, joy and money?
Joy and money. Joy, number 1. Money, number 2. Sorry. Thing 3?
Thing 3 is flow. So this is the thing that's least understood of the 3, because joy and money are pretty simple, right? So flow is about skill. It's about something that you're really good at, something you do really well. Maybe you're not like the single best, you know, in the world, most unique, but you do it really well. It's something that comes natural to you. Other people might struggle with it. It might be difficult for them, but for you, it's like totally natural, right? It's the kind of thing you get lost in. Like you can spend like hours at a time doing something because you're in this flow state.
That's so true. And this is the individual part, I feel like. This is like, one of the things that I did was I literally said, what brings me joy? Where do I look up and like, oh my God. And I was literally doing this in the dark and was like, oh, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm still in the dark room making pictures. Oh my God.
Exactly.
So that's one of the attributes of flow?
Yeah, it is, exactly. You know, it's also like if you don't always know for yourself, sometimes you can find that through this process of discovery. Sometimes other people actually will recognize it in you. Sometimes other people are like, actually, you know, Chase is really good at that. Maybe you don't even realize, like, if you're in this meeting, for example, and like, you know, stuff is going around, tasks are being handed out. If you're ever in this meeting and they're like, oh, you know, Chase should do this. You know, it's almost like the whole group is identifying and saying like, you're good at that thing, right? That's that special thing. So again, you don't have to have it. Like you could just have, you know, doing something you love that makes a good living. But I really feel like it's next level to actually have joy, money, and flow. Because flow, it's like you're going to take even more joy in doing something that you're really good at. Probably going to be more successful
Comes
financially
naturally
as well.
to you. Bonus. Ding. How do people know if they should quit something? Because a lot of people at home like, oh my God, I love what you're saying, Chris, but you know, I'm in a job and it's pretty good, or it's sort of like being in a relationship that's okay.
Right.
And I loved it. Was literally the best answer I've ever heard anyone say for how do I know if the thing that I'm doing right now is the thing, or if I should be thinking beyond that.
Okay, cool. So first of all, joy, money, flow, like our goal here is to make decisions to get us closer to the intersection. So we're gonna make decisions every single day, big decisions, small decisions. You come to this fork in the road, you know, you let this model, it's not meant to be a conceptual model, it's meant to actually help you practically. Like I gotta decide this, okay, this is gonna get me closer to something I love, you know, something that is valuable financially, something that I'm really good at. Okay, so how do you know when to give up?
Yes.
In the new book, I write a lot about giving up. I'm really kind of attacking this conventional wisdom that winners never quit. Because I did a lot of research. Winners quit all the time.
I dropped out of a career toward professional soccer, bailed on medical school, and quit a PhD in philosophy to become a photographer.
Exactly. And you wouldn't be where you are now if you had just kept doing any of those things.
For sure. And it's fair to say that it was in the face of a lot of like, what are you doing?
Right. Shouldn't you persevere? Shouldn't you keep going? Shouldn't you work harder? Yeah. You know, isn't perseverance the predictor of success? So no, what I found that flexibility is the predictor of success, adaptation, actually being willing to kind of walk away from something. So as to know how to do it, because you're like, wow, I'm in this thing, like, do I give up? Do I keep going? You ask yourself 2 questions.
2 questions.
Really simple. Is it working? Do I still believe in it? You let the answers to these questions kind of guide what you do next.
So if you're working inside a big company and you are not sure if you should quit and go out on your own or go get a different job or strike out and become a freelancer, you ask yourself, is this working?
Yeah, well, sure. Well, first of all, like if you have to ask yourself, like, do I have my dream job? You probably don't, right? I mean, like, it's kind of like, am I happy?
See, it's
like,
so simple when you talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about.
You're like, am I happy? Do I have to ask the universe this, you know? So, you know, whether you're working a job or any kind of project, like if it's going really well and you still believe in it, great, keep doing it. You know, if it's not going well, you don't believe in it, you have to stop. You have to find a way, maybe not tomorrow, but like soon you have to stop. So you only have to think about it a little bit more if the answers are like in conflict. Like, oh, you know, this thing isn't working out, but I still really believe in it. Like, it's my life dream, it's my vision. Okay, so we have to change. You got to change, you got to tweak, you got to change how you're doing it because it's not working, but you still believe in it, right? But maybe you're in the opposite situation where like it's working just fine, but you don't care. You don't have the passion, you don't have the love, you know? I really think in that situation, you also have to create change because in the long term, you're going to be unfulfilled. Like most of us want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Like we want to believe in something. We want to care about what we do. So you could just kind of keep trucking along, right? But why? Like, why would you? So you have to create change. Is it working? Do I still believe in it?
This is like spoken. It's like I came and saw the Oracle today. Before we let these people go, 2 classes at Creative Live you have to know about Chris. One is travel hacking, and the other one is
make your dream trip a reality.
Bam. And I just got a text from someone who's in Europe and saying that I got here all on points. I've spent no money but on food based on your class.
That's so fun. That's great. Love stories like that.
Incredible. All right. Signing off for another episode of Chase Jarvis Raw. We spoke with the Oracle today, and he told you what to do to figure out your next move. Thank you, buddy.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Bye.
Ha.
You can have it if you want it. It's gratis, it's for free. There ain't no strings attached, no, there ain't no catch. Take my love, take my love, take me. You can have it if you want it. It's gratis, it's for free.